I'm Rabbi Jay Karzan.
And I'm Rabbanit Ruby Ray Karzan.
And Tape with Rabbi Doug is next.
We're gonna watch Rabbi Doug on the TV tonight.
Forget about the network programs. Forget about all the great cable shows. There's only one thing for me on Mondays and Tuesday nights. Rabbi Doug.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna watch Rabbi Doug. Yeah, we're gonna watch Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight.
Shalom and welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. Glad you could be with us today. My guests today next to me is David Wilder and Noam Arnon. Ruchim Habayim, welcome, from the Jewish Community of Hebron, the city of Hebron in Israel. First, let me ask you, David, what is the Jewish Community of Hebron besides the fact that people live in the holy city of Hebron?
That's exactly what it is. The Jewish Community of Hebron is the return of the Jewish people, the first Jewish city in the land of Israel, coming back to where Jews had lived for literally hundreds and thousands of years. We were expelled after the riots in 1929, and Baruch Hashem, after the Six-Day War in 1967, we came back. Today there are over 80 families that live in the city of Hebron itself. There are over 300 children, another 300 yeshiva students living and learning in Yeshivat Shavei Hebron, and literally tens and hundreds of thousands of people who come to visit us every single year. Now,
you say that these people live in the city of Hebron, but in actuality, there are hundreds and hundreds of others who live in Kiryat Arba and the outskirts of Hebron, which are part of the Hebron community, just not in the lower part of the city, which we call Hebron proper. Is that correct?
That's correct. Today in Kiryat Arba there are close to 7,000 people, and if we would take the area of municipal Hebron, all of municipal Hebron, including the other settlements around, you're talking about close to 10,000 Jews.
Close to 10,000 Jews. And we know in the Torah, in the book of Genesis, it says, Kiryat Arba hi Hebron. Kiryat Arba is Hebron. This is the place where Hebron is, Kiryat Arba. So it's really all one city. How long has the new community of Hebron actually existed? You say we were expelled in 1921 during the riots, during the massacre of the Jews at that time. How long has it been that a real established city of Jewish people has been in existence again? Is it since the 1967 Six-Day War?
People came back to live in Hebron originally in 1968, Passover in 1968 with Rav Moshe Levinger and his wife, Rabbi Miriam Levinger. They made Seder in Hebron, and then were forced to live in Hebron military compound for 2.5 years. In Erev Rosh Hashanah in 1971, they moved up to Kiryat Arba to the first buildings that had been built, and came back to live in the city itself in 1979.
Now, was the first settlement in the city in the Beit Hadassah hospital? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, I've been there, obviously, and I remember I was there in 1980. They were still settled in that with a few trailers and stuff that people were living in beside that. That was the main settlement of the women, at least, were living inside the Beit Hadassah hospital complex at that time. Is that still a place where people are living? What is today going on in that Beit Hadassah building?
Both Noam and I live in Beit Hadassah today. Noam lives downstairs. I live all the way upstairs. And underneath, it's residential. There are 10, 11 families today that live in that building. And underneath, in the basement, is a museum, which includes a memorial room for the people who were killed in 1929.
I've been there. It's an amazing thing to look at. You are obviously, I presume, not born in Israel. Tell me where you're from originally.
I was born and grew up in New Jersey. I've been in Israel for almost 30 years, living in and around Kiryat Arba and Hebron for the last 22 years.
Okay, and Noam, you are born in Israel, I presume. Am I correct? And have lived there all your life. Where were you born, and how did you end up in Hebron?
I was born in a village, in a farm, not far from Ranana, in the center of Israel. But when I was 18, I had to choose a yeshiva. And I've chosen to go to Yeshivat Kiryat Arba, which was there in the second year of its existence. And when I went there, it was a very young yeshiva and very young settlement in Kiryat Arba. And I found my place there. I found a place that I could do something very, very meaningful with my life, to help to bring Jews back, to return to Hebron. That Hebron should not remain Judenrein, as the Arabs would like it to be, but to make Hebron again a living place. I became involved in the whole process of returning into Hebron, of redeeming the Jewish property and the Jewish holy sites in Hebron, like the Bet Knesset, the Shul of Avraham Avinu there, which was buried under trash and garbage and dirt. From there on, we began to establish the new community in Hebron. Baruch Hashem, today we are about 84 families inside Hebron.
I believe in 1992, when I was in Israel, it was my first time in the Avraham Avinu neighborhood in the synagogue itself. And I think just right before that is when it was really opened up, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s. Is that correct? And it's a beautiful place. To think that at one time that was used as a stable and things like that by the Arabs before it was redeemed. How long did it take to actually clean it out, rebuild the parts that needed to be rebuilt, and turn it into a synagogue again?
People here may not believe that first of all we had to cross the obstacle of the opposite of the government of Israel to redeem this place. I remember we were visiting.
Because they didn't want to expel the Arabs that were there. Is that correct?
No, that's the problem. I remember that we were visiting there in that synagogue when I was a student. It was a stable. It was a sheep's and donkey's pen, and we had to fight and to struggle against the government of Israel that would not let us dig and excavate the place. The first was Professor Ben Zion Tavger, his best memory, that began to dig there, and he was arrested by the Israeli police. Then we got permission from the Israeli government, and I was there in charge of the excavations. We worked there about half a year, digging into the ground, into the trash, into the garbage, to find the remains of the shul. And thank God we have done it in the beginning of '76. Then we had to struggle 5 years for the permission to build the synagogue again. Only in the beginning of the '80s we got the permission and reconstructed the shul. And today, as you said, it's a wonderful place. Let's remember that this synagogue was built some 500 years ago by the Sephardic community of Hebron that came from Spain. And today it's reconstructed. It's a beautiful place, and it's one of the most ancient and beautiful shuls all over Israel.
David, you mentioned that it was the original city of the Jews, and for those who wonder how that's so, it's because Abraham went there, lived there. He bought the cave of Machpelah to bury Sarah. Eventually, Abraham, Isaac, Sarah, Rebecca, and Leah are all buried there. Our patriarchs and matriarchs outside of Rachel, of course, who's buried in Beit Lachem, in Bethlehem. And this holy city was the first actual purchase of land by the Jewish people. Abraham settled there. Can you tell me a little bit about the cave of Machpelah today, this burial place? I know that there's a mosque on the burial place and a synagogue on the burial place. I've prayed there myself many times. I've been there for Shabbat services on Friday night. The first time I've ever heard Shir HaShirim done in an Ashkenazic setting on a Friday night before davening was in the Ma'arat Hamachpela. My wife and I have been there for Mincha on weekdays, Mincha Ma'ariv. Tell me what's going on now in the Ma'arat Hamachpela this year and today.
Well, Ma'arat Hamachpela is, of course, the central reason we're in Hebron. That site was off limits to Jews for 700 years. In the year 1267, when the Mamluks were the Crusaders, until we came back during the Six-Day War, no Jew was allowed to step inside that building, which was built 2,000 years ago by Herod. And today, Baruch Hashem, we have the privilege to be able to daven there, and we do daven there daily. It's a drawing card for literally thousands of people. Before the Oslo War started, we had between 500,000 to 600,000 Jews a year visiting that site. And today, our enemies have told us that if, God forbid, they should ever control all of Hebron again, that they won't allow us to pray there. And we know that if we did not live in Hebron itself, that site would be totally off limits to us. And now during, we're expecting many people to continue to come visiting in Ma'arat Hamachpela. We've been doing many major improvements there. As a matter of fact, we're building a beautiful glass roof above the courtyard so that people won't be disturbed anymore by the rain in the winter and the heat in the summer. And we've been making major improvements inside and outside to beautify the place. It should be. It's the second holiest place to Jewish people in all the world. We feel that it should have the respect that should be given to such a holy site.
Now, the Arabs consider it, the Muslims consider it to be a holy place because Abraham was the father of Ishmael as well. Do they have equal rights, or do we have equal rights in the Ma'arat Hamachpela? How does that work today?
The building today has been divided into two parts. For the last almost decade, it's been split into two. Today, the Arabs control over 80% of the building. We have about 20% that we're allowed to pray in. There are areas in the so-called Jewish side that are off limits to us because the Arabs have an office there, or because they have their loudspeaker system set up for blasting out their prayers. Ironically enough, they're allowed to bring people over to clean the floor. We're not allowed to wash the floor or sweep the floor. They have to bring people over from the Waqf, the Muslim Religious Trust. So they have rights to our side. We have very little way to get to decide, which today they control, which includes Ol Yitzchak, the Yitzchak Hall, which is the largest and most beautiful of the rooms. And it's also the most important of the rooms because it's from that room that it's possible to get down into the actual caves themselves. And Noam himself, many years ago, was one of the very few Jews who was able to actually get inside the caves of Machpelah.
Wow. I remember, and I mix up my visits there because they were infrequent. Noam, I was in the Ma'arat Hamachpela, I believe, back in 1980 when I was in there. There was actually a connecting hallway where you could go in and see where the Muslims are praying, and they could come in and see where the Jews are praying. Is that still possible today to interchange and visit the other side?
No, because, some years ago, as David said, the whole building was divided. Before then, we could go and visit and pray in every room and every hall in the Ma'arat Hamachpela, and the same as the Muslims and the Christians. Everybody could move and could go and could pray wherever he wants. And when under Muslim occupation, for 700 years, Jews were not allowed in. Jews and Christians were not allowed in. Only when we liberated Ma'arat Hamachpela in 6 Day War, we opened it to everybody. But that's finished, and today Ma'arat Hamachpela is closed and divided, and you have to get through electronic gates in the way to Ma'arat Hamachpela. And today it's divided, and still tens and hundreds of thousands of Jews come every year to daven there, to pray there, and to feel the wonderful feeling of being there, very close to our fathers and mothers.
Here's a big question for either of you, and I know this is a touchy question. The walk to the Ma'arat Hamachpela on Shabbat. People go there to daven on the Sabbath. They have to walk, and the walk is not that the Ma'arat Hamachpela is in the Jewish neighborhood. It seems to be a very dangerous situation with the sarot, with the problems that have taken place in past years. How do you guarantee the security of the people who are walking there on Shabbat every week? No?
It's a fact that in the last 10 years, I think 2 million people, Jews, have been walking to Ma'arat Hamachpela every Shabbat, every holiday, and there were most of them went in peace, and everything was okay. There were some incidents, but we have to remember there were some incidents in Tel Aviv and Haifa and Yerushalayim and in New York. So the problem of Islamic terror is worldwide, but at the same time 99.99% are okay, and we have to go and to make sure the terror doesn't win. And we make all the arrangements and the army there is very, very strong today to ensure the security of the Jews who come to Ma'arat Hamachpela. And Baruch Hashem, we can make it very sure that everybody who goes to Ma'arat Hamachpela, it's very safe.
I'd like just to add to that over the last few years, this year, Baruch Hashem, things have been much quieter. But for the 2 years when we were being attacked and shot at, never once was the building closed, and people always walked back and forth, whether it was from Kiryat Arba, 15 minutes down the road, or from our homes in Tel Romeid or Beit Hadassah, wherever, to Ma'arat Hamachpela, and it made no difference. Day and night, people walked back and forth, because we feel that in and of itself is our safety. The ability to be able to pray at such a holy place, those prayers we know are heard. And of course there are miracles upon miracles upon miracles, but this is something that nothing should be able to stop.
You brought with you some beautiful video of Hebron for us to look at. And we're going to take a look at that right now. So stay with us, and we're going to take you into Hebron.
It was in Hebron where Avraham Avinu purchased Ma'arat Hamachpela to bury Sarah Imenu. It was in Hebron where David HaMelech was anointed king over all of Eretz Yisrael. And it is in Hebron, the city mentioned 87 times in the Torah, that the Jewish people have lived and worshipped for almost 4,000 years. It is Hebron, the heart and soul of Eretz Yisrael.
Since I've become involved in working on behalf of Hebron, people ask me, what can you do? What can we do to help? Well, first of all, visit Hebron. Second, visit Hebron. Third, visit Hebron. The people who live there just need to know that they are not forgotten, that they are not isolated, and that Jews outside of Hebron recognize their courage, respect their right to be there, and understand the importance of Hebron.
Every father, every son, in every generation must constantly inspire one another to persevere. We are constantly being asked to surrender our territory, to surrender our principles. But one thing must be made abundantly clear. If we surrender Hebron, we are surrendering our history. And if we are surrendering our history, then we are surrendering our future. And no human being, Jew or non-Jew, individually or as part of any government, has the right to obliterate our past or compromise our future.
I am against terrorism. I am against terrorism. The Intifada is against what they are doing in their military activities and military escalation against our people every day. I am against terrorism.
The reason the people in Hebron are under constant attack, because I think the Arab world recognizes how heroic these people are and believes that if they were able to destroy this handful of families, the rest of the population would be very easy to destroy.
It was here in Hebron that in 1929, the local population massacred dozens of Jews, men, women, and children.
Rabbi Moshe and Rebbetzin Miriam Levinger are the modern-day father and mother of the renewed Jewish community of Hebron. The Levingers were amongst the first Jews arriving back in Hebron following the 1967 Six-Day War.
Now by the shortest route southwards on to Hebron. We anticipated heavy fighting, but Hebron surrendered without a shot. For centuries, Jews had been forbidden to enter the tombs of the patriarchs at Hebron, forbidden to ascend higher than the seventh step.
As my husband always told everyone, the real Eretz Yisrael has come back to us, because the real Eretz Yisrael is biblical Eretz Yisrael. The place is mentioned in the Torah. I remember the first Shabbat, my husband went to Ma'arat Hamachpela, and he came back and he said, you know what it means to say Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, and you are standing where they are buried? First we were in Beit Hadassah, and then we were given by the government the Avram Avinu neighborhood, and gradually Avram Avinu was built, and Beit Chasson was built, and Beit Schneerson was built. And many times sometimes I walk around here, I feel as if I'm dreaming. I remember Beit Hadassah when we first went in. We started a few lonely women, so now, Baruch Hashem, we have nearly 80 families here. We have children who are getting married and coming to live here. I have 2 married children living here. When you have the future generations following in your footsteps, then you know that you did the right thing at the right time.
The Palestinians have a great passion to destroy the Jewish identity of the Holy Land. They have desecrated Kever Yosef. They have desecrated the shul in Yericho. They have desecrated Kever Rachel. And with unrelenting fury, their goal is to destroy Jewish Hebron. Elazar Leibovich was born in Kiryat Arba and moved to Hebron when he was 3 years old. He spent almost his entire life in Hebron. Shabbat was to have been his 21st birthday. A staff sergeant in the Israeli army, Elazar was driving his friend Neria Ben Yitzchak, who had been married only days before, and his new Kala, Sarah, to Hebron for a Shabbat wedding celebration. A few miles outside of Hebron, Arab terrorists attacked the 3 young people, shooting at their car. Elazar, hit in his chest, continued driving, but soon lost consciousness. Neria took control of the car and soon stopped in an effort to revive Elazar, to no avail. An hour before Shabbat, on the eve of his 21st birthday, Elazar Leibovich became another victim of the Oslo War.
We were scheduled to go to Ma'arat Hamachpela. Found out the night before that a resident of Hebron was killed, 21-year-old boy named Elazar. We'd been to funerals before. We had no idea what to expect when we arrived. We tried to get as close as we could to the bima, but there were many, many people there. What we saw was something that I've never seen before in my life. An environment of just sadness, of crying. When we looked around, we saw many faces, but these were not ordinary faces. They were faces of angels crying. When I think about it, I think about, the beautiful faces of women, adults, children. And the thing that I think hurt the most for us was that these were people that were villainized throughout the world, settlers and violence and things like that, but these were angels. These were our heroes. And seeing them cry hurt us very much. As the funeral went on, there was singing a song, Mitchadesh Pnei Adama, that supposedly was Elazar's favorite song. It was sung with such passion. During the funeral, we all looked around us and saw many different kinds of people crying, women, children, people just like us. Regular people, just there, mourning the death of a brother. We all felt that this was one of ours, and he died al Kiddush Hashem.
The Arabs want Hebron because they know that Hebron is our link to the land. Hebron is our link to the entire Eretz Yisrael. And to even think for a moment that we can just give up Hebron and tell the Jewish people that they have to leave there, it's just unthinkable. And we always have to remain vigilant, and we always have to remain supportive of these people. Because if they don't realize that they have our support, and if the outside world doesn't realize that the Jewish people is going to do everything that they possibly can to secure that, God knows what could happen, even the most unthinkable thing.
I'm Rabbi Shmuel Boteach, and you're watching Taped with Rabbi Doug.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your visit in Hebron. We're here on Taped with Rabbi Doug, and my guests are David Wilder and Noam Arnon of the Jewish Community of Hebron. And David, you are sort of the spokesman for Hebron. You write hundreds and hundreds of articles, magazine articles, internet articles that are published. I read your works on a weekly basis, so it's a great honor for me to even get to meet you, to meet the person whose work I read all the time. How did you become the spokesman and this author that has so much to say about Hebron on behalf of the community?
Well, I should clarify. I work with the foreign press, the English-speaking press. Noam deals with the Israeli press and does a tremendous amount of work in Israel proper. How did I fall? I began working with the community almost 10 years ago, and at that time I was doing a lot of administrative work. We were trying to put the office back together, And at that time, of course, Oslo was beginning, and the Hebron Accords started to come in, and there were many tourists coming in, there were a lot of journalists coming in, and there was a necessity for somebody who could express what we believe in a proper fashion to the world press and to the people all around the world. And Hashem put me, I guess, in that place at that time, and I've been able to undertake that obligation. I hope to some degree of success to try to let the world know what really is happening in Hebron.
Noam, the Jewish Community of Hebron is an organization. It's not just people who live there. What is the organization's goals for the future?
Well, the organization of our community takes care of all the needs of the community, like building, like developing, like security, like education, like healthcare, like media and press release, and everything that should be done for the community. Now we have a fund here in America, which is a charity fund that helps us keep all the work we are doing there, and people here can support Hebron by being friends and partners in building Hebron, or anything they want to do in Hebron, like education for the children, like health, like security.
Do people come to Hebron just to spend time to volunteer? People go on kibbutz to volunteer. People go, to different organizations to go, for 3 months to Israel to be, volunteers for Israel, things like that. Do people come to Hebron actually for 3 months to volunteers for Hebron?
Let's begin with one day. I want to make sure that every one of our audience will come to visit Hebron, will feel the feeling, will understand the situation, and will become a friend, let's say a loyal son or daughter of our fathers and mothers in Hebron. We share the same fathers and mothers. We are one family. So we have to make sure that they are okay, and Hebron is okay, and every Jew is invited to come and to visit.
So if people want more information about Hebron, they can go to www.hebron.org.il, and you can email Noam at hebron.org.il, or you can email David at hebron.org.il, and they'll be happy to tell you more about their community and its functions in the Jewish community as a whole. And I just wish you both much success. Can you show me what you have there in your hand, David? Because that looks like a Code of Jewish Law, Shulchan Aruch.
This is a book that was in my home. It was on my bookshelf. And if you just open it up, you can see that it has air conditioning, the hole from cover to cover. The hole actually went in this side over here. You can see the hole here, and it came out this side. Actually, when we found the book, the Kalashnikov bullet was still inside here. And when I show this to people, I try to make it very clear that we were very fortunate this was hit, because a book you can replace. There are some things that you can't replace.
This bullet was in your home when the book was in your home?
This was on my bookshelf in my apartment.
I just wish you both much success in your endeavors to preserve the holy city of Hebron. I wish you both much success in spreading the word of the importance of life in Eretz Yisrael and Yishuv of Eretz Yisrael, the settlement in Eretz Yisrael for the Jewish people. I want to thank you both for being on the show. David, Noam, it's just been an honor to have you both here and to have you here for this Shabbat Hebron in Chicago, which is why you came to Chicago. To our audience, I want to thank you all for being with us today. We hope you'll be with us every week. Remember, we're on every week at this time. If you want more information, be sure to email us here at info@tvrabbi.com, or you can contact one of my guests, and hope to see you next week right here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. Shalom.